That was insane. That was just insane. Um, I can't believe that every U.S. men's national team game pretty much at this point has come down to the wire, except for the Serbia game, which I think uh, in Canada I don't believe was that close going down the stretch, but it felt closer at least. Like Serbia was the hardest matchup on paper. I know this Germany team definitely beat the United States last year, but I mean, this is not good overall. I think let's start there. The way that the Team USA has played in these 5 exhibition games, I know the other international teams have a lot more familiarity with one another. They play together more frequently. They're more familiar with each other's games. But the way that the US has looked in comparison to these other teams, quite frankly, coaching is the question mark that comes up to me more than anything else. Other teams, their offense seems to have a much better flow. Defensively, I felt like the US has looked pretty good overall, especially when the second unit comes in. I thought today the first unit looked better, and that's mostly just because Embiid looked better. He was moving a little bit more fluidly today than I thought he had the first 4 games, and that showed up today when he got the dunk, and then he followed up with that block shot where he was able to actually track back and block the dunk at the rim, which was incredibly impressive. Not just for anybody, but for the way Embiid has looked um, since the playoffs, and then in these games here with Team USA, he just hasn't moved like he used to. So it was good to see him do that. He had a few really nice shots in the third quarter of this game to help Team USA. But overall, not a very good performance from the team. Now, kind of buried the lead here, but LeBron James, just outstanding back to back performances from him. And to be nearly 40 years old and the best player on Team USA, I thought he would be starter in, like, name, but I thought, other guys would kinda take over, and he would start the games, but, other people would really, play more minutes, and after these 5 exhibition games, I couldn't have been more wrong. Like, he's been the best player, he's been the closer for this team now on 2 separate occasions, and he's made key plays, he's made key rebounds. It's just crazy to me that at age 39, he's doing this at such a high level. Let's just go through the rest of the team, I guess, and then we'll go over the rest of the. Actually, we'll go over the rest of the matchup. Then we'll break down some of the players individually. So, I mean, this German team beat Team USA, the younger version, as they said on the broadcast last year in the semifinals. And at the time, that was a big shock to me. I didn't realize how good some of these guys on the German national team are. And the number one player is the shooter who I just can't remember his name off the top of my head right now. Um, but that guy is just lethal. And I mean, I would have to think NBA teams have tried to get him to come over at this point, and will probably continue to try to get him to come over from the Bundesliga and playing with Bayern, because he not only is he a great shooter, but he is great at finding space, which is an underrated skill. He really does a good job. It's like, how is he open? And you're just frustrated, but then you realize like Schroeder did a good job. They ran a nice screen. There was a play, I think it was in late in the third quarter or early fourth quarter, where they ran a pick and roll, and Schroeder, Team USA switched it. So Schroeder was matched up with Embiid, and he kind of faked to get the ball and then cut into the lane, and Embiid couldn't keep up with him. Holiday came in to help out, helping off of the shooter and on Germany, and that left him open in the corner. And all I was thinking was, just don't leave him open. Like, that's the one guy we can't afford to leave open, and we did. And he hit another three, and he's just a great shooter. He gave us problems last year. He certainly continued to give us problems today. Schroeder just does a great job of running their offense out of the pick and roll. He just gets guys open, and he just keeps it flowing really more than anything else. He just does a really good job of creating opportunities for that German national team. And then they do a really good job of spreading the court, and keeping guys spaced out, which prevents Embiid from staying in drop coverage. Their center can shoot a little bit. It's going to be a very hard matchup. I think there's a good chance we see Germany again. And then when Mo Wagner comes in off the bench, he just gives life to Germany. Like, he just sets good screens. He plays with high energy. Tice does a good job in the starting unit as well. But yeah, Joel, Homer, man, LeBron is the GOAT. Like, he is just phenomenal today. And so, with that being said, I guess let's go back through some of Team USA, player by player. So, starting off with LeBron, I said it before, he's just been outstanding. And he has to pace himself, it's clear. He's not the same guy. And so we saw him kind of come out with the sprint in the first quarter and then close with the sprint at the end of the game. And in between, like, there was a period of time where he came in for Anthony Davis because Davis had foul trouble, and LeBron was kind of just standing in the corner, kind of just letting the game flow. He really wasn't trying to make his mark on the game. And that's where we saw Tatum have a nice stretch, but then also kind of force a shot out of an isolation. And same thing with Edwards. Quickly going through the rest of the starters, I thought Curry had a good game. He had good stretches, I think is a better way to put it. Missed some shots that he could make. At this point in Curry's career, he's not quite. He did get to the basket for the and one, but you're not seeing as much of that as we have in the past. So he's got to get his shots to fall, and that's going to be, some nights it's not going to fall. But today it felt like, solid B performance, B minus performance from Curry. And B, this was definitely his best performance of the 5 games, which was good to see. I would give him like a B plus performance. Hit some nice mid range shots. Hit a big 3 in the third quarter when Germany was making a run. And better defense from him, although still not moving great. And more teams that Team USA plays that spaces the floor as well as Germany does, the more of a problem that's going to be. I thought Drew Holiday gave Team USA great minutes early on. He really kept them afloat in the first quarter, scoring the ball, and then also just with his defense and just his basketball IQ. And then Devin Booker is interesting to me because I feel like once Kevin Durant is healthy, he's going to start. And so I don't know where Booker's minutes are going to come from, whether he'll start and Derek White won't play, whether he'll come off the bench in place of Derek White in that second unit, or if he'll be, one of the 2 guys along with Halliburton who doesn't play. But I felt like Booker, he had that huge and one opportunity. He didn't hit the free throw, I believe, where he was able to get like a crazy left-hand shot to go in. And I felt like overall, he doesn't quite fit in with that first unit. It's a little bit of an odd fit for him because he's not a pure spot-up shooter. And I do think, though, he's doing a good job of just like managing that. And what I mean by that is he is giving great effort on the defensive end of the court. He got a few deflections, a couple steals, and he's just doing what he can there. And then the second unit, Anthony Davis and Bam Adebayo, I thought had a good stretch in the second quarter, but Davis battled foul trouble today, and I didn't think this was Bam's best game. I thought he's had certainly some better days. So for both of them, not their best performances of the 5 games. Tatum had a nice run in the second quarter, late first quarter, early second quarter, but didn't close the game well. It was nice to see him go on that run because he hasn't played well the first 4 games, but just not quite there. And we saw it from him in the last Olympics and played better. So it is possible, but he hasn't quite found his comfort zone with this specific team. Derek White, okay, I guess. Not as good as last game. I thought last game he did much better than he did today. Anthony Edwards, up and down performance as well. I thought he had a few good moments, but then he had a few costly turnovers towards the end of the game, which were not helpful. He had a bad pass in particular with a few minutes to go that could have cost Team USA this game. So I do think he is the guy off the second unit that is going to close games depending on matchups. So we need him to play better and try to just find his moments a little bit better. Because sometimes when he gets on the court with Tatum, it becomes a little bit of your turn, my turn, and we need a little more fluidity with our offense. So I believe that covers everybody who played today. I thought we got saved, quite frankly, by LeBron. We're certainly a more talented team than the Germany team, but they play more like a team, and that's been the theme across these 5 exhibition games. And any of these games that are coming up, we've got Serbia, South Sudan, Puerto Rico. I think we'll win all of these games, but like if they put up some betting lines and Team USA is a 20, 30 point favorite, I'd be looking to take points with the other team. And because what we've seen so far is, yeah, Team USA can win, but a lot of these games are eerily reminiscent of the World Cup run up last year, where we were winning a lot of close games. And was almost like hoping we would lose one just to give ourselves like a real wake up call. And maybe these 2 games, with Serbia and certainly South Sudan, will do that even though we won. But sometimes you really need that loss to really, drive the point home. So I think we're certainly in a perilous spot going into the Olympics. I would have liked to see Kevin Durant at least get 1 game in with these guys, because I know his game really fits in seamlessly pretty much anywhere, but chemistry and minutes and figuring out lineups and all of that would be nice to just have that happen beforehand. I do think he'll take Devin Booker's spot, but we'll have to see. So I think Team USA, this is not going to be a run where, up until the medal games, we're winning, by 20 plus points every game. There might be a couple of those games with South Sudan and Puerto Rico early, but as this tournament goes on, these are going to be very close games, and Team USA should not be like a gigantic favorite. Sure, the favorite, but to wrap this up, I would not be surprised at this point if Team USA doesn't win the gold. It wouldn't necessarily be a shock, but maybe like a surprise. Not even really a surprise, honestly. So I think these are going to be very fun, competitive games moving forward. And really, that's all we can ask for. But I guess that's not true, because this is LeBron's last Olympics. This is Curry's first and last Olympics, and probably Kevin Durant's last Olympics. Hopefully he can play. And we want to send those guys home with the gold. So I want the gold. I know those guys want the gold. And yeah, Alpha Dog. I mean, I agree. That international competition is just much better now. And I agree. We can't just win with talent alone. That's why coaching and running specific sets and figuring out who our guys are going to be. I think honestly, it's a great point. I think that's one of the big differentiators between us and other teams we've played. Just like going back through the last 2 games in particular, Germany knows all of their sets go through Schroeder. Yeah, Franz Wagner is their leading scorer, but everything goes through Schroeder, and it helps everyone kind of know their roles. The previous game, South Sudan, everything went through Carlik Jones. The game before that with Serbia, Nikola Jokic is the guy. I know they have a little bit more other like guards and stuff, but he's the guy. With Team USA, because it fluctuates so much, I think it's hard for the team to build rhythm. And that's why, to Alfred Dog's point, we just can't win with talent anymore. So coaching is going to be really important. And Steve Kerr, I think, is going to have to step up as we get into the Olympic Games. But I'll be covering as many games as I can. So we'll be back Sunday after the game against Serbia to cover that one immediately after the game wraps up. I'll be covering NBA basketball in general, the Knicks and Duke basketball, my focus on this channel. So subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.